It's the FBI's top mission: stop terrorist attacks. And while you'll hear about incidents around the country, the vast majority of plots are broken up before anyone is ever hurt, thanks to hundreds of members of the Joint Terrorism Task Force. When it happens, we all collectively freeze in horror as the images fill the TV screen. The questions come quickly. Was it a terrorist attack? Did the suspect train overseas? Soon after the attack, confirmation from ISIS leaders claiming responsibility. That was the playbook, but now everything has changed.
It continues to change on a daily basis, and really it's almost being driven by technology. Just the ability of jihadists, their ability to communicate and to communicate through encrypted means throughout the world.
In a rare interview, Timothy Waters, the head of Detroit's Joint Terrorism Task Force, warns us ISIS is everywhere for any sympathizer with access to a computer or smartphone.
A few clicks and you could be looking at jihadist propaganda. With a few more clicks, you can be talking to an ISIS fighter on the ground in Syria. And that's what it is today.
So now someone in Southfield is as likely as someone in Somalia to become a terrorist. A plot is as likely to be planned in Ypsilanti as in Yemen. The message from ISIS is simple: do anything to create chaos, death, and fear.
ISIS provides all sorts of tools and ideas for them to use to carry out an attack with little or no training whatsoever.
There are so many people sampling the message, the federal government cannot keep up. At the front lines, the Joint Terrorism Task Force. At one time in Michigan, it was a dozen or so FBI agents. Now it has swelled to nearly 100 law enforcement officials just in Metro Detroit. And it includes regular police from almost every local community.
When they come on, we're an open book. As long as you have a clearance and a need to know, which these agencies do because we're all in this together, they know what I know.
Agent Waters grew up in New Jersey. The 9/11 terror attacks are personal to him.
I had friends that were killed in the World Trade Center, kids I played football with in high school. And
it has drawn him to fight terror at every turn. Today, tips come in all the time, and every single one is taken as a life or death emergency.
And we're going to take it exceptionally seriously. We're going to run it to ground, and we're going to do what we need to do to keep people safe.
One local tip from the public involved Sebastian Gregerson of Detroit. Someone who knew him was concerned because he was talking about moving his family to ISIS-controlled territory. While most tips turn out to be nothing, Gregerson was an exception.
Hundreds and hundreds of rounds of ammunition, road spikes to disable vehicles.
An undercover agent found out he was stockpiling a serious arsenal of weapons. He was purchasing grenades and launchers.
Multiple different types of knives. And this is right around the time that ISIS is putting out all those videos on beheadings, and the knives are very similar in nature to those.
His social media was full of praise for terror attacks in Paris, France, and Orlando, Florida. The feds were so worried about him launching his own attack here in Metro Detroit, they had agents follow him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
When you have ISIS calling on people to conduct attacks in the United States, etc., you see an individual who's clearly believes in what that messaging is, and then is acting on that to procure equipment.
It's not easy to charge someone as a terrorist. You need to differentiate between free speech and criminal terror activity, and you don't want to wait until after an attack.
At some point along the way, public safety risk versus neutralizing the subject.
The feds couldn't risk it another day. They took Gregerson down. A search of his home turned up weapons. The task force says it was a build-up for a war, not a collection by a gun enthusiast. Gregerson was not charged with any terror crimes, but was sent to prison for several months. For now, the Joint Terrorism Task Force knows exactly where he is and that he cannot hurt anyone.
It's exceptionally rewarding. I can't tell you how rewarding it is.
The JTTF tells us it's you and I who are the key to stopping terror plots. They say if you're suspicious, speak up, and there will be an investigation. If they find nothing, no worries. If they find something, it could save lives. Kevin Dietz, Defenders.